Story 1 of 60. Chess cheating scandal involving Hans Niemann and Magnus Carlsen, centered on anal beads rumors and their rivalry. Chess cheating scandal involving Hans Niemann and Magnus Carlsen, centered on anal beads rumors and their rivalry. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Hans Niemann defeated Magnus Carlsen in a 2022 Sinquefield Cup match, sparking cheating allegations. Magnus Carlsen withdrew from the 2022 Sinquefield Cup after suspecting Niemann of cheating. Niemann admitted to cheating in online chess games when younger, aged 12 or 16. Niemann sued Carlsen and Chess.com in a $100 million lawsuit, which was later dismissed and settled. Niemann was a Twitch streamer who gained popularity through online chess games and provocative behavior. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 says Niemann shifts uncomfortably when the subject of anal beads arises, while Article 2 does not mention this reaction. Article 1 describes Niemann's lawsuit as settled after being dismissed by a federal judge, while Article 2 states the case was dismissed and then settled without specifying the judge's role. Article 1 claims Niemann can't quite bring himself to say it's a bum rap, while Article 2 does not reference this exact phrasing. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 2 of 60. Australian SAS veteran Ben Roberts-Smith's arrest and alleged war crimes prosecution. Australian SAS veteran Ben Roberts-Smith's arrest and alleged war crimes prosecution. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Ben Roberts-Smith, a Victoria Cross recipient, was arrested at Sydney Airport on Tuesday, 2025. He is charged with 5 counts of war crime, murder in relation to alleged offences in Afghanistan between April 2009 and October 2009, SMH The Age, and April 2009 to October 2012, Guardian. The Australian Federal Police, AFP, must prove guilt to a criminal standard, higher than civil, in upcoming court action. Justice Anthony Besanko ruled in 2014 that Roberts-Smith committed war crimes on the balance of probabilities. His defamation appeal was dismissed in May 2025 by 3 judges. Gina Rinehart publicly stated she still supports Roberts-Smith, calling the prosecution insane and questioning the $300 million spent on the case. But not all outlets told the same story. SMH The Age state Roberts-Smith was arrested in 2025, but no source confirms the exact date beyond Tuesday. SMH The Age report Roberts-Smith's alleged war crimes occurred between April 2009 to October 2009, while The Guardian states April 2009 to October 2012. SMH claims Rinehart's statement cited Brigadier Mansford's quote verbatim, but Theage does not attribute the quote to Mansford. This story was covered by The Guardian, Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 3 of 60. David Warner charged with mid-range drink driving in Sydney. David Warner charged with mid-range drink driving in Sydney. Here's what every outlet agrees on. David Warner, 39, was charged with mid-range drink driving, PCA 0.104, after a random breath test on Malabar Road, Maroubra, Sydney, on April 7, 2026, around 5:30 p.m. Warner was arrested and taken to Maroubra police station for a second test, which allegedly returned a reading of 0.104. Warner is due to appear in Downing Centre Local Court on May 7, 2026. Warner retired from international Test cricket in 2024 and continues to play in the Big Bash League, Sydney Thunder. The incident occurred on Easter Sunday, April 6, 2026, around 5:30 p.m. local time. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian states Warner was driving a van that stopped and parked short of the testing site, double and, while ABC and News Kamau describe it as stopped short of the site and parked without repetition. News Kamau and Guardian mention Warner's court date as May 7, 2026, but ABC does not specify the exact date, only that it is in May. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 4 of 60. Speculation over the future of Masters Gnomes at Augusta National. Speculation over the future of Masters Gnomes at Augusta National. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Speculation is growing that the 2026 Masters may be the last year Augusta National sells its iconic gnomes, small ceramic figurines introduced in 2016 as hospitality gifts and later made available to the public in 2018. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 suggests Augusta officials are irked by the impact of gnome hunting on the patron experience, while Article 2 implies Ridley is unaware of internal decisions, leaving ambiguity about whether officials are actively concerned or simply uncommunicative. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 5 of 60. Murder case of Melbourne woman Eva Lasrini and arrest of Alan Keyes. Murder case of Melbourne woman Eva Lasrini and arrest of Alan Keyes. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Eva Lasrini, 53, was reported missing on Thursday, June 27, 2024, after failing to contact family. Lasrini's body was found on Saturday, June 29, 2024, near Little River Road and Princes Freeway, southwest of Melbourne. Alan Keyes, 67, was arrested at Melbourne Airport on Friday, June 28, 2024, before boarding an international flight. Keyes was charged with murder over Lasrini's death and remanded in custody to appear in court on August 10, 2024. Lasrini's daughters, Evindra and Vonya, reside in Indonesia and were planning to reunite with her this week. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC states Lasrini's body was found on Saturday afternoon, while Thege does not specify the exact time of discovery. Thege mentions Lasrini's body was found near the Princes Freeway and Little River Road at Little River, while ABC simply states vicinity of Little River Road and Princes Freeway, no explicit mention of Little River. Thege includes the phrase Alan Keyes, with an A before LL, for the suspect's name, while ABC uses Alan Keyes, with an E before LL. This story was covered by ABC News and The Age. Story 6 of 60. Controversial wellness cult OneTaste and founder Nicole Daedone's prison sentence for coercion. Controversial wellness cult OneTaste and founder Nicole Daedone's prison sentence for coercion. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Nicole Daedone founded OneTaste in 2005, selling it for $12 million in 2017. Daedone was sentenced to 9 years in federal prison in March 2024 for forced labor conspiracy and coercion. Rachel Cherwitz, OneTaste's former head of sales, received a 6.5-year sentence alongside Daedone. OneTaste's orgasmic meditation (OM) practice involved 15-minute clitoral stimulation sessions in a nest position with no orgasm expectation. The practice was marketed as a wellness tool for stress resilience, emotional regulation, and mystical experiences. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states Daedone was sentenced to federal prison after a ruling on psychological, emotional, and financial coercion, while Article 2 describes it as a forced labor conspiracy conviction. Article 1 reports Daedone's sentence as 9 years, but Article 2 does not explicitly state the length of her sentence beyond last week. Article 1 claims Daedone's TEDx talk described her first OM experience in graphic detail, while Article 2 does not mention this specific detail. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 7 of 60. High Court dismisses Bruce Lehrmann's defamation appeal over Brittany Higgins' rape allegations. High Court dismisses Bruce Lehrmann's defamation appeal over Brittany Higgins' rape allegations. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The High Court dismissed Bruce Lehrmann's bid to challenge the federal court's defamation ruling on the 9th of April, 2026, stating special leave refused with costs. Justice Michael Lee ruled in 2024 that on the balance of probabilities, Bruce Lehrmann raped Brittany Higgins in Parliament House in March 2019. Lehrmann sued Network 10 and journalist Lisa Wilkinson over a 2021 interview with Brittany Higgins on The Project, where Higgins alleged rape by a colleague, unnamed at the time. Lehrmann's criminal trial in the Act Supreme Court collapsed in December 2022 due to juror misconduct, leading to charges being dropped. Justice Lee's judgment included the quote, "Having escaped the lion's den, Mr. Lehrmann made the mistake of going back for his hat." But not all outlets told the same story. ABC and Newscomau state the full court found Justice Lee should have ruled Lehrmann had actual knowledge Higgins was not consenting, but The Guardian does not explicitly mention this specific finding. Newscomau claims the full court's findings went beyond those made by Justice Lee, while The Guardian does not use this phrasing. ABC and Newscomau describe the full court's ruling as devastating findings about Lehrmann's lack of credibility, but The Guardian does not repeat this exact language. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 8 of 60. Human bones discovered on Rottnest Island during construction, sparking investigation. Human bones discovered on Rottnest Island during construction, sparking investigation. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Human bones were discovered during construction work at Holy Trinity Church on Rottnest Island on April 8, 2026. The bones were found during upgrades to Rottnest Island's main bus stop, including a new bus access road, shelters, seating, decking, and an accessible ramp entrance for the Catholic Church. Rottnest Island, also known as Wajamup, is located 19 kilometers off the coast of Fremantle, Western Australia. Rottnest Island operated as an Aboriginal prison and forced labour camp from 1838 to 1931, incarcerating approximately 3,700 to 4,000 Aboriginal men and boys. Police are conducting an investigation and forensic specialists will examine the bones to determine their age. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC reports 3,700 Aboriginal men and boys were imprisoned on Rottnest Island, while Newscomau reports nearly 4,000. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 9 of 60. AFL player Lance Collard faces tribunal for alleged homophobic slur during VFL match. AFL player Lance Collard faces tribunal for alleged homophobic slur during VFL match. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Lance Collard is a St Kilda forward facing a disciplinary tribunal for allegedly using a homophobic slur during a VFL match against Frankston on 2024 XXXX, exact date unspecified. Collard was previously banned for 6 matches in 2024 for using a homophobic slur while playing for VFL side Sandringham, St Kilda's affiliate. The alleged incident occurred during a heated on-field melee triggered by Collard's swinging arm high hit on Jackson Voss in the same VFL match. Collard was initially suspended for 3 weeks, reduced to 2 weeks, for the high hit, pleading guilty to that charge. Frankston player Darby Hipwell and teammate Bailey Lambert both allege Collard used the slur F********* ing F*******T during the altercation. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1, ABC, states the tribunal hearing occurred on Thursday and the verdict was delayed until Friday, while Article 2, ABC, only mentions the hearing is scheduled for next week without specifying timing. Article 1, ABC, reports Collard was banned for 6 matches in 2024 for the same slur while playing for Sandringham, but Article 2, ABC, does not specify the length of the prior ban, only states it was for the same offence. Article 1, ABC, includes Collard's exact denial, "I said, come here, maggot," and his reference to signing an oath, while Article 3, Newscomau, does not mention these details. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 10 of 60. Gold Coast mother Maree Crabtree on trial for son Jonathan's 2017 murder via drugged smoothie. Gold Coast mother Maree Crabtree on trial for son Jonathan's 2017 murder via drugged smoothie. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Maree Mavis Crabtree is on trial in Brisbane Supreme Court for the murder of her 26-year-old son Jonathan Crabtree in July 2017. Jonathan Crabtree died after allegedly consuming a fruit smoothie or juice laced with a fatal dose of prescription oxycodone. Maree Crabtree is charged with 1 count each of murder, domestic violence, attempted murder, domestic violence, and fraud, dishonestly obtaining at least $100,000 from Jonathan's superannuation fund. The trial began on Tuesday, April 7, 2026, and is expected to run for at least 3 weeks, Newscomau, or 5 weeks, ABC. Jonathan Crabtree suffered a severe brain injury in a car crash in June 2015 and had ongoing mental health issues, including drug addiction. But not all outlets told the same story. News Kamau states the trial is expected to run for just over 3 weeks, while ABC reports it is expected to run for 5 weeks. News Kamau does not mention the January 2017 attempted murder charge in its first article, while ABC explicitly states it as part of the charges from the start. ABC reports that Maree Crabtree told police she did not see a suicide coming because Jonathan was peaceful when found, while News Kamau emphasizes her claim that she was shocked because he was not suicidal in the 2 years prior. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 11 of 60. Missing man swept away in floods near Inaminka, SA. Search ends tragically. Missing man swept away in floods near Inaminka, SA. Search ends tragically. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Tony Aspden, 65, was last seen about midday on April 4, 2026, walking across the closed Cordillo Downs Road near Inaminka, SA, when he was swept into floodwaters. Inaminka is located approximately 40 kilometers from the Queensland border. ABC says 40 kilometers, News Kamau says 25 kilometers. Consensus on proximity to border. The Cooper Creek system near Inaminka remains in flood, with fast-moving water submerging hazards and restricting visibility. Mr. Aspden's granddaughter, Maddie Calabai, urged locals to join the search and stated, alive or past, he deserves to be home with us. The Bureau of Meteorology had flood warnings in place for Inaminka since April 1, 2026, with rising water forecasted. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC reports Inaminka is 1,065 kilometers from Adelaide, but News Kamau says it is 820 kilometers from Adelaide. ABC states the search was ongoing as of April 6, 2026, while News Kamau reports the body was recovered by 10:30 a.m. on April 6, 2026, ending the search. ABC describes the distance to the Queensland border as 40 kilometers, while News Kamau says 25 kilometers. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 12 of 60. 2 NSW teenagers charged over alleged violent extremist material linked to terror probe. 2 NSW teenagers charged over alleged violent extremist material linked to terror probe. Here's what every outlet agrees on. 2 teenagers, aged 15 and 16, from Moree in northern NSW, were charged with offences related to violent extremist material. Police searched a home in Moree on the 27th of March, 2026 and seized a mobile phone, a ballistic-style vest, and several notebooks. The 15-year-old was initially charged on the 27th of March, 2026 after the first search. Further raids were conducted on 2 Moree homes on the 3rd of April, 2026, where handwritten notes and extremist literature were seized. The 15-year-old was charged with knowingly collecting and making documents connected with terrorism and using a carriage service to transmit violent extremist material. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian states the 15-year-old was charged at the time of the 27th of March search, while News Kamau implies he was only charged after the 3rd of April raids. This story was covered by The Guardian and news.com.au. Story 13 of 60. Australian childcare study links 40-plus hours week to developmental risks, policy debates continue. Australian childcare study links 40-plus hours week to developmental risks, policy debates continue. Here's what every outlet agrees on. A Federal Department of Education study tracking 274,000 Australian children found those in 40-plus hours week of childcare had higher rates of developmental vulnerability in social-emotional domains by their first year of school, 2018. The study identified 5 developmental domains: physical health, language and cognitive skills, social competence, emotional maturity, and communication skills. Children in lower quality childcare, rated at standard or worse, had a 6% higher average risk of developmental vulnerability compared to higher quality centers. The Albanese government's childcare subsidy allows households earning under $535,000 to access 72 subsidized hours per fortnight. Subsidized childcare cost taxpayers $4 billion in the 3 months ending December 2025. But not all outlets told the same story. The articles do not contain any direct contradictions in factual claims. This story was covered by Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 14 of 60. Federal judge dismisses most of Blake Lively's claims against Justin Baldoni in lawsuit. Federal judge dismisses most of Blake Lively's claims against Justin Baldoni in lawsuit. Here's what every outlet agrees on. 3 claims remain in Lively's lawsuit: breach of contract, retaliation, and aiding and abetting in retaliation. The trial is scheduled to begin on May 18, 2026, after mediation failed last month. Judge Lyman ruled that Lively was an independent contractor, not an employee, and thus not entitled to bring sexual harassment claims under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. The lawsuit stems from the filming of the 2024 romantic drama It Ends With Us*, in which Lively and Baldoni co-starred and Baldoni directed. Judge Lyman cited Lively's claims that Baldoni leaned in as if to kiss her, kissed her forehead, rubbed his face against her neck, and made comments like "it smells good" during filming. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian states Baldoni's $400 million defamation claim against Lively and Ryan Reynolds was dismissed last June, but ABC does not mention the specific amount or confirm the dismissal date. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 15 of 60. Murder charge after fatal stabbing in NSW Central Coast suburb. Murder charge after fatal stabbing in NSW Central Coast suburb. Here's what every outlet agrees on. A 42-year-old man was fatally stabbed during an altercation in Buff Point, NSW Central Coast, at about 8 p.m. on Monday, April 7, 2026. A 20-year-old man was arrested nearby and charged with murder. The victim could not be revived and died at the scene. The suspect was refused bail and will appear in Bail Division Court. The incident occurred at a property on Buff Point Avenue, about 4 kilometers south of Doyleson. But not all outlets told the same story. News Kamau states the suspect was refused bail to appear on Tuesday, while ABC says he will appear before Bail Division Court later today, April 6, 2026, implying a discrepancy in timing. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 16 of 60. 3 Australians selected in WNBA expansion draft for Portland Fire and Toronto Tempo. 3 Australians selected in WNBA expansion draft for Portland Fire and Toronto Tempo. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Nyaju Puok was selected by the Portland Fire as the number 16 overall pick in the WNBA expansion draft. Nyaju Puok averaged 11.4 points, 4.3 rebounds, and 1.5 steals per game for the UC Capitals in the WNBL last season. Nyaju Puok scored a half-court buzzer beater in January to win Canberra's 77-74 victory over the Perth Lynx. Chloe Bibby was selected by the Portland Fire as the 11th overall pick in the expansion draft. Christy Wallace was selected by the Toronto Tempo as the 23rd overall pick in the expansion draft. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian states Brondello selected Christy Wallace as the 23rd overall pick, while ABC does not specify the exact pick number for Wallace. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 17 of 60. Ben Robert Smith charged with war crimes in Afghanistan after years of allegations. Ben Robert Smith charged with war crimes in Afghanistan after years of allegations. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Ben Robert Smith was arrested at Sydney Airport on Tuesday, April 2, 2024, by Australian Federal Police, AFP, and the Office of the Special Investigator, OSI, in relation to alleged war crimes in Afghanistan between 2009 and 2012. He was charged with 5 counts of the war crime of murder, each carrying a maximum penalty of life imprisonment. The alleged incidents include killings at Whiskey 108, April 2009, Darwin, September 2012, and Sayachau, October 2012, involving unarmed Afghan civilians and detainees. Robert Smith was previously awarded the Victoria Cross, VC, for most conspicuous gallantry in 2010 during the Battle of Tizak in Afghanistan. In June 2023, Federal Court Justice Anthony Bisanko ruled that on the balance of probabilities, Robert Smith was involved in the murder of 4 unarmed Afghan men during his deployment in Afghanistan, a finding upheld by the full court of the Federal Court and the High Court. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian's afternoon update headline briefly mentions Robert Smith's arrest alongside unrelated stories, while other sources like ABC and The Age focus exclusively on the arrest and its implications. The Age and SMH described the prosthetic leg incident in detail, including the use of the leg as a trophy and drinking vessel, but ABC and News.com.au do not provide this specific detail. The Guardian reports that Robert Smith was expected to face court on Tuesday, but the case was listed for a virtual court mention on Wednesday, while ABC explicitly states the case was listed for a virtual court mention on Wednesday due to the arrest. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, News.com.au, SBS News, Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 18 of 60. A family reviews their budget Aldi Holidays trip to Phuket, Thailand, highlighting pros and cons. A family reviews their budget Aldi Holidays trip to Phuket, Thailand, highlighting pros and cons. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The family booked a return trip to Phuket, Thailand, for 3 people through Aldi Holidays for $3,965 after negotiations. The package includes 8 nights at a Novotel hotel in Phuket, free daily buffet breakfast, and a choice of lunch or dinner daily. The package also covers return flights for 3, a full-day Coral Island and Racha Island tour, daily drinks from the main bar, and a free Thai massage per guest. The family traveled with a 3-year-old child named Evie, who enjoyed the trip and asked when they could return. The family experienced a 40-minute car ride from the hotel to Phuket proper, which they found prohibitive for frequent visits. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the 2 articles as they are nearly identical in content. This story was covered by Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 19 of 60. Deontay Wilder defeats Derek Chisora in a split decision bout. Wilder calls out Anthony Joshua. Deontay Wilder defeats Derek Chisora in a split decision bout. Wilder calls out Anthony Joshua. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Deontay Wilder secured a split decision victory over Derek Chisora in a thrilling heavyweight bout at London's O2 Arena on April 5, 2026, marking Chisora's 50th and final professional fight. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the 2 Guardian articles. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 20 of 60. Arsenal's late win over Sporting CP in Europa League quarter-final first leg. Arsenal's late win over Sporting CP in Europa League quarter-final first leg. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Arsenal secured a dramatic late victory over Sporting CP in the Europa League quarter-final first leg, with Kai Havertz scoring the winner in injury time after a substitute appearance. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the 2 Guardian articles. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 21 of 60. Brisbane rideshare driver charged with rape, stalking, coercive control over multiple incidents. Brisbane rideshare driver charged with rape, stalking, coercive control over multiple incidents. Here's what every outlet agrees on. A 29-year-old man was charged with 1 count each of rape, coercive control, threatening violence, and 3 counts of stalking. The man allegedly used a white Mercedes-Benz A45 rideshare to pick up a 27-year-old woman in mid-2025, leading to a relationship and subsequent assault on July 20, 2025. Police allege the man exchanged social media accounts with a 21-year-old woman after she used his rideshare on November 1, 2024, followed by harassment and threats. Police raided an address in Ferry Hills, or Ferny Hills, as per ABC, on November 17, 2025, seizing mobile phones and a laptop belonging to the suspect. The man is on bail and will appear in Brisbane Magistrates Court on April 17, 2026. But not all outlets told the same story. The location of the suspect's address is listed as Ferry Hills in News Kamau Guardian but Ferny Hills in ABC. News Kamau and ABC mention the suspect was charged with trespass, but Guardian includes it as a charge while News Kamau ABC do not explicitly list it in their charge summaries. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 22 of 60. Chris Bowen and Liam Bartlett clash over renewables and energy crisis at Sydney press conference. Chris Bowen and Liam Bartlett clash over renewables and energy crisis at Sydney press conference. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Energy Minister Chris Bowen faced a heated exchange with Channel 7's Liam Bartlett during a Sydney press conference on April 8, 2026, regarding Australia's fuel shortage and renewable energy policies. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states the distance of solar energy travel as 150 million kilometers, while Article 2 states 150 million kilometers, both are numerically identical but formatted differently. Article 1 claims Bartlett said, "You're playing catch up, while Article 2 does not include this exact quote. This story was covered by news.com.au. Story 23 of 60. Australia's 2026 Daylight Saving Time changes and clock adjustments. Australia's 2026 Daylight Saving Time changes and clock adjustments. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Daylight saving time in Australia will end in April 2026 for select states and territories. Clocks will move back 1 hour during the end of daylight saving in April 2026. The Northern Territory, Queensland, and Western Australia do not observe daylight saving time. Daylight saving will return on Sunday, October 4, 2026. Daylight saving time is observed in states that gain an hour of sleep when clocks go back to standard time. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian articles do not specify the exact date or time for the clock change, while ABC states it happens on April 5 at 3 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. The Guardian articles mention this April without specifying the exact date, while ABC provides a precise date of April 5, 2026. ABC specifies that the clock change happens tomorrow at 3 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, but the Guardian articles do not mention a specific date or time. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 24 of 60. Trump threatens Iran with destruction over Strait of Hormuz deadline. Trump threatens Iran with destruction over Strait of Hormuz deadline. Here's what every outlet agrees on. US President Donald Trump gave Iran a deadline of 8 p.m. Eastern Time Tuesday, 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time Wednesday, April 8, to reopen the Strait of Hormuz or face destruction of civilian infrastructure, including bridges and power plants. Trump posted on Truth Social, "A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will." US and Israel struck military targets on Iran's Karg Island, which handles 90% of Iran's oil exports, on April 7. Iran rejected a 45-day ceasefire proposal and demanded guarantees against future attacks before accepting any deal. Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif proposed a 2-week ceasefire, with Iran opening the Strait of Hormuz as a goodwill gesture, which Iran was positively reviewing according to Reuters. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian and ABC report Iran rejected a 45-day ceasefire, but SMH and The Age mention a Pakistani proposed 2-week ceasefire that Iran was positively reviewing. ABC states Trump said Iran's proposal was not good enough, while SMH and The Age do not mention Iran's counter-proposal being explicitly rejected by Trump. The Guardian reports Iran demanded guarantees against future attacks and an end to Israeli strikes on Hezbollah, but SMH and The Age do not mention these specific demands. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, news.com.au, Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 25 of 60. Toddler death after drowning at Queensland property. Toddler death after drowning at Queensland property. Here's what every outlet agrees on. A 18-month-old toddler was pulled from water at a private property in Tara, Queensland, on April 6, 2026, around 1 p.m. Emergency services were called to the property in Tara, about 300 to 320 kilometers west of Brisbane. The toddler was taken to Tara Hospital in a life-threatening condition. Police attended the scene and stated the incident was not suspicious. But not all outlets told the same story. News Kamau states the toddler is still fighting for life in critical condition, while ABC reports the toddler has died. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 26 of 60. Trump mocks Macron's marriage, sparking diplomatic furor over Iran war. Trump mocks Macron's marriage, sparking diplomatic furor over Iran war. Here's what every outlet agrees on. US President Donald Trump mocked French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte Macron during a White House lunch on the 2nd of April, 2026, US time, saying Brigitte treats him extremely badly and he was still recovering from a right to the jaw. Trump referenced a viral 2025 video showing Brigitte Macron pushing Emmanuel Macron's face as they disembarked from a plane in Vietnam, May 2025. Macron called Trump's remarks neither elegant nor up to standard and said they did not deserve a reply, focusing instead on criticizing the US-led Iran war for lacking NATO consultation. The White House initially posted a video of Trump's remarks on its official YouTube channel before removing it after realizing the offense caused. French politicians, including left-wing leader Manuel Bompard, condemned Trump's comments as absolutely unacceptable. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian and The Age mentioned Trump saying Macron's response was no, we cannot do that, Donald. We can do that after the war is won, but SMH does not include this exact quote in its summary of Trump's remarks. The Guardian and The Age explicitly state Trump said NATO won't be there if we ever have the big one, but SMH does not include this line in its reporting. This story was covered by The Guardian, Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 27 of 60. Westpac CEO warns of recession risks amid inflation, rate hikes, and Middle East tensions. Westpac CEO warns of recession risks amid inflation, rate hikes, and Middle East tensions. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Westpac CEO Anthony Miller warned of a chance of a recession in Australia due to inflationary pressures and global tensions, including the Middle East conflict, in interviews with ABC's That's Business podcast, April 2026. The Reserve Bank of Australia, RBA, raised the official cash rate by 25 basis points to 4.1%, from 3.85%, in early April 2026, marking the second hike in 2 months. Westpac and other major banks hiked fixed home loan rates by 0.45 percentage points in April 2026, with NAB offering the lowest one-year fixed rate at 6.04%. Westpac's chief economist Lucy Ellis forecast 3 more RBA rate hikes by August 2026, citing Middle East-driven energy price spikes. But not all outlets told the same story. News Kamau states Oxford Economics warned Brent oil could peak at $190, 276 Australian dollars, by August 2026, but ABC does not mention this specific price target. News Kamau implies the RBA's next hike would return rates to 4.35%, while ABC frames it as a return to where we started before cuts but does not specify the exact rate. ABC cites inflation at 3.7% in February 2026, but does not mention whether this figure is adjusted for the March energy crisis, while News Kamau implies the RBA's hikes are reacting to broader inflationary pressures beyond February data. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 28 of 60. NSW police offer $1 million reward for unsolved 2003 murder of Harmony Bryant after decades of investigation. NSW police offer $1 million reward for unsolved 2003 murder of Harmony Bryant after decades of investigation. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Harmony Bryant, 26, died in August 2003 after being found critically injured in bushland near Ocean Drive, Bonny Hills, 25 kilometers south of Port Macquarie. She suffered burns covering 60% of her body, a broken pelvis, fractured wrist, and left arm. Her Hyundai Excel was found ablaze approximately 200 meters from the roadway. Police state evidence suggests she fell from a cliff near Grants Headland, northern end of Grants Beach, and was helped back to her car by an unknown person or persons. She was taken to hospital where she died over a month later from her injuries. But not all outlets told the same story. News Kamau states the cliff is a short distance from the roadway without specifying Grants Headland, while ABC explicitly names Grants Headland as the cliff location. No contradictions in core facts beyond location phrasing, all other details align precisely. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 29 of 60. US imposes 100% tariff on imported patented pharmaceuticals, impacting Australian exporters like CSL. US imposes 100% tariff on imported patented pharmaceuticals, impacting Australian exporters like CSL. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Donald Trump signed an executive order imposing a 100% tariff on patented pharmaceuticals manufactured outside the US on July 31, 2025, ABC, SMH, Thij, News Kamau, Guardian. Australia exported approximately $1.32 to $2 billion worth of pharmaceuticals to the US in 2024 to 2025, News Kamau, ABC, Guardian. CSL, ASX-listed biotech firm, is Australia's largest pharmaceutical exporter to the US, with manufacturing plants in the US, Australia, and Europe, SMH, Thij, News Kamau, Guardian. CSL announced a $1.5 to $2.2 billion expansion of its U.S. manufacturing facility in Kankakee, Illinois, set to complete by 2031, SMH, News Kamau, Guardian. The tariff applies to patented drugs only, excluding generic medicines, News Kamau, ABC. But not all outlets told the same story. News Kamau reports Australia exported $1.32 billion in pharmaceuticals to the US in 2025, while ABC and Guardian report US $1.32 billion. ABC uses 2024 data. SMH and Thij do not mention the most favored nation deals struck by AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson, and Pfizer, which News Kamau explicitly states were already negotiated. ABC states Trump previously said the tariff could be as high as 200%, but this detail is not mentioned in SMH, Thij, or News Kamau. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, news.com.au, SBS News, Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 30 of 60. Parents convicted of starving teenage daughter face retrial after appeal overturns convictions. Parents convicted of starving teenage daughter face retrial after appeal overturns convictions. Here's what every outlet agrees on. A Perth court granted bail to a man and woman convicted of starving their teenage daughter in November 2024, setting aside their convictions on appeal in early 2025. The parents were each charged with 2 counts of engaging in conduct that caused their child to suffer, found guilty after a jury trial in November 2024. The girl was admitted to Perth Children's Hospital in 2021 at nearly 17 years old, weighing about 28 kilograms, 27 to 28 kilograms, with doctors warning she would have died without intervention. The parents lied about their daughter's age, enrolling her in ballet classes with dancers 2 to 3 years younger than she was. The father pleaded guilty to forging his daughter's birth certificate to make her appear younger. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC states the girl weighed 27 to 28 kilograms at hospital admission, while News Kamau specifies exactly 28 kilograms with no range. ABC describes the father's conviction as 2 counts of engaging in conduct that caused their child to suffer only, but Newscomau adds an explicit charge of reckless care of a child resulting in suffering. ABC notes the father was sentenced to over 6 years, unspecified exact term, while Newscomau does not mention sentencing details beyond the original convictions. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 31 of 60. US-Iran ceasefire deal and its immediate aftermath. US-Iran ceasefire deal and its immediate aftermath. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Donald Trump announced a 2-week double-sided ceasefire with Iran on April 9, 2026, just hours before an 8 p.m. Eastern Time deadline to bomb Iran's power plants and bridges. Iran agreed to temporarily reopen the Strait of Hormuz for 2 weeks under Iranian military coordination, subject to the US suspending attacks on Iran. Pakistan mediated the ceasefire agreement, with Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif inviting US and Iranian delegations to talks in Islamabad on April 10, 2026. Iran released a 10-point plan for negotiations, including controlled transit through the Strait of Hormuz, lifting of sanctions, and acceptance of uranium enrichment, previously rejected by the US. Israel agreed to the US-Iran ceasefire but explicitly stated it does not include fighting against Hezbollah in Lebanon. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC reported an anonymous White House official confirmed Israel had agreed to the ceasefire terms, but Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu later denied this publicly, stating the ceasefire did not include Lebanon. The Guardian, Article 1, noted Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif said the ceasefire extended to Lebanon, while Netanyahu's office explicitly stated Israel did not agree to ceasefire terms in Lebanon. ABC mentioned Trump's 10-point plan from Iran was workable, but The Guardian, Article 1, reported Iran released 2 versions of the plan. One in Farsi included acceptance of enrichment, which was missing in English versions shared by diplomats. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 32 of 60. Australian reservist charged for unauthorised foreign military work in Ukraine. Australian reservist charged for unauthorised foreign military work in Ukraine. Here's what every outlet agrees on. A 25-year-old South Australian Army reservist was charged with breaching defence legislation by working for the Ukrainian military without authorisation. The man allegedly travelled to Ukraine in May 2025 and returned to Australia in January 2026. He allegedly worked as a drone operator for the Ukrainian armed forces during the conflict. The charge is under Section 115A of the Defence Act 1903, with a maximum penalty of 20 years imprisonment. The Australian Federal Police executed a search warrant at a Felixstowe home in Adelaide on April 2, 2026, seizing electronic devices including a mobile phone and laptop. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1, SBS, mentions bail was granted, but Articles 2, ABC, and 3, Newscomau, do not mention bail status, only the charge and court appearance. This story was covered by ABC News, news.com.au, and SBS News. Story 33 of 60. Trump's $400 million White House ballroom project faces legal and political hurdles. Trump's $400 million White House ballroom project faces legal and political hurdles. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Donald Trump's $400 million White House ballroom project, 90,000 square feet, is being reviewed by the National Capital Planning Commission, which will vote on it on the 5th of April, 2026, Article 1, and the 4th of April, 2026, Article 3. Federal Judge Richard Leon issued a preliminary injunction on the 2nd of April, 2026 halting construction of the ballroom, ruling that Congress must approve the project before it proceeds. The National Trust for Historic Preservation sued to block the ballroom, arguing Trump violated laws by demolishing the East Wing without review. The Trump administration is appealing the injunction, with the National Park Service filing a motion on the 5th of April, 2026 claiming the halt creates a national security risk. The Commission of Fine Arts, which includes Trump loyalists, approved the ballroom project last month despite widespread public opposition, over 35,000 comments, mostly negative. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states the National Capital Planning Commission postponed a vote last month, while Article 3 claims the vote is scheduled for the 4th of April, 2026, Thursday. Article 1 mentions Trump's fellow Republicans have not weighed in on the project, except Lexi Hamill, while Article 2 does not address Republican reactions beyond the administration's legal stance. Article 1 implies the Commission of Fine Arts approved the project last month, but Article 3 does not specify a date for their approval, only that it occurred. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 34 of 60. ICE detains US soldier's wife despite marriage and legal efforts. ICE detains US soldier's wife despite marriage and legal efforts. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Two Guardian articles cover the detention of Annie Ramos, a 22-year-old Honduran immigrant and wife of a U.S. Army Staff Sergeant, by ICE agents at Fort Polk, Louisiana, on April 2, 2026. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states Ramos was released on April 7, 2026, while Article 2 does not mention her release date, only that she was detained on April 2, 2026. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 35 of 60. Australia's highest-earning athletes across sports in 2025-26. Australia's highest-earning athletes across sports in 2025-26. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The articles from The Age detail Australia's highest-earning athletes across various sports in 2025-26, focusing on cricketers, AFL players, golfers, UFC fighters, and other high-profile athletes. But not all outlets told the same story. The Age mentions Pat Cummins earned up to $3 million from Cricket Australia in 2025, but does not confirm if this includes the same breakdown of retainer, captaincy stipend, and match payments as Travis Head and Mitchell Starc. The Age states Zach Purton's earnings are based on the 2024-25 season, but also mentions his 2025 win in the Everest, which is not included in the earnings figure. The Age reports Jack Steele's Street Kilda contract runs until 2027, but does not specify if his 2025 salary was front-loaded or back-loaded for salary cap reasons. This story was covered by The Age. Story 36 of 60. Kieran Trippier's departure from Newcastle United confirmed. Kieran Trippier's departure from Newcastle United confirmed. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Kieran Trippier will leave Newcastle United this summer when his contract expires, marking the end of a 4.5-year tenure that began in January 2022. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the two Guardian articles regarding Trippier's departure. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 37 of 60. Victoria's V-Line regional trains overwhelmed by Easter travel surge under free public transport policy. Victoria's V-Line regional trains overwhelmed by Easter travel surge under free public transport policy. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Victoria's government made public transport free throughout April 2026 to ease cost of living pressure and reduce fuel demand. V-Line added extra carriages and had 300 coaches on standby to handle overcrowding over Easter 2026. Passengers reported standing for hours in packed V-Line trains during Easter 2026, including on services to Swan Hill and Bairnsdale. V-Line ordinarily takes reservations on long-distance trains to Albury, Bairnsdale, Shepperton, Swan Hill, and Warrnambool. Warrnambool station platforms are too short for full velocity trains, forcing operation of shorter 3-carriage services instead of 6-carriage trains. But not all outlets told the same story. The Age states V-Line recorded 95,639 travellers on Easter Sunday 2026, while The Guardian does not provide a specific number for Easter Sunday but focuses on overcrowding reports. The Age mentions a 118% increase on Easter Sunday 2026, but The Guardian does not reference this exact percentage or compare to 2025 figures. This story was covered by The Guardian and The Age. Story 38 of 60. Tiger Woods arrested for DUI after crash, releases bodycam footage and treatment plans. Tiger Woods arrested for DUI after crash, releases bodycam footage and treatment plans. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Tiger Woods was arrested for DUI on March 27, 2026, after crashing his Land Rover SUV on Jupiter Island, Florida, which clipped a truck and rolled onto its side. Deputy Tatiana Levener of the Martin County Sheriff's Office told Woods, "I do believe your normal faculties are impaired, and you're under an unknown substance, so at this time you're under arrest for DUI." Woods replied, "I'm being arrested." Woods admitted to taking a few medications earlier in the day but denied drinking alcohol. A breath test showed no alcohol, but he refused a urine test. Officers found 2 white pills, later identified as hydrocodone, a prescription opioid, in Woods's pocket. He stated, "That's a Norco." Woods pleaded not guilty to DUI and demanded a jury trial. His case is due back in court on May 5, 2026, for a readiness hearing. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian states Woods was released on bail 8 hours after arrest, while ABC does not specify the exact duration but confirms release on bail. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 39 of 60. NSW crackdown on misleading fuel prices amid global fuel crisis. NSW crackdown on misleading fuel prices amid global fuel crisis. Here's what every outlet agrees on. 93 penalty notices were issued to NSW service stations for price mismatches between advertised and actual prices during a compliance blitz. NSW Fair Trading inspected approximately 1,800, 75%, of the 2,400 registered service stations in NSW by early April 2026. The NSW Fuel Check app and website saw daily visits surge from 10,000 to 500,000 by late March 2026. On-the-spot fines for non-compliance include $1,100, with court penalties up to $22,000 for individuals and $110,000 for corporations. The NSW government injected $2.2 million into improving the Fuel Check website and app to enhance data collection and transparency. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian states that none of the 93 infringement notices were issued for price gouging, while ABC and Newscomau imply that some fines were related to suspected price exploitation. The Guardian mentions that Fuel Check does not require retailers to fix prices, only to report them accurately, while ABC and Newscomau suggest the government is enforcing real-time price transparency. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 40 of 60. Australia's response to Trump's Iran threats and ceasefire deal. Australia's response to Trump's Iran threats and ceasefire deal. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Anthony Albanese called Donald Trump's threat of a whole civilization will die extraordinary and inappropriate for a US president, citing concerns about civilian protection under international law. A 2-week conditional ceasefire between the US and Iran was announced on April 8, 2026, temporarily reopening the Strait of Hormuz, a key oil shipping lane. Matt Canavan, National's leader, urged Albanese to publicly oppose Trump's threats of bombing civilian infrastructure, calling the rhetoric inappropriate and the situation out of hand. Trump's ceasefire announcement came 90 minutes before his self-imposed deadline for Iran to surrender or face widespread destruction, including attacks on bridges and power plants. Iran's foreign minister stated the ceasefire would temporarily allow safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz, which Iran had effectively closed after US-Israel strikes on February 28, 2026. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian reports Matt Canavan urged Albanese to make clear to the US that Australia wouldn't support the president's threat of widespread bombings, while the ABC frames this as Canavan calling for Albanese to oppose the US's approach to the conflict, implying a stronger stance. The Guardian mentions Angus Taylor sidestepped criticism of Trump's language but welcomed the ceasefire outcome, while the ABC notes Taylor said he wouldn't use those words but supported the Strait's reopening. The Guardian includes a separate story about Ben Roberts-Smith's war crimes charges and Gina Reinhart's criticism, which the ABC does not cover. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 41 of 60. Grace Tame Foundation announces closure amid funding challenges and controversy. Grace Tame Foundation announces closure amid funding challenges and controversy. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The Grace Tame Foundation announced its closure due to increasingly challenging long-term funding, with the process to be finalized in the coming weeks. The foundation was established in 2021 to advocate for child sexual abuse survivors and push for legal reforms. The foundation's board includes 4 volunteers: Grace Tame, Professor Michael Salter, lawyer Michael Bradley, and survivor Scarlett Franks. The foundation helped drive landmark legal reforms, including stopping the naming of persistent child sexual abuse as a relationship in all Australian jurisdictions. Grace Tame led a chant of "Globalise the Intifada" at a pro-Palestine protest in Sydney in March 2026, sparking controversy. But not all outlets told the same story. The ABC article states the foundation's closure announcement was made on April 9, 2026, at 6 hours 20 minutes and 45 seconds, while Newscomau does not specify the exact time of the announcement but mentions it was on Thursday, April 9, 2026. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 42 of 60. Donald Trump fires US Attorney General Pam Bondi amid Epstein files controversy. Donald Trump fires US Attorney General Pam Bondi amid Epstein files controversy. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Donald Trump fired Pam Bondi as US Attorney General on April 3, 2026, according to multiple sources. Pam Bondi was informed of her termination on April 3, 2026, during a ride from the White House to the Supreme Court. Todd Blanche, Bondi's deputy and a former personal lawyer to Trump, will serve as acting Attorney General. Trump praised Bondi as a great American patriot and a loyal friend in his Truth Social post announcing her firing. Bondi was the second woman in Trump's cabinet to be fired in 2026, following Kristi Noem's dismissal as Homeland Security Secretary on March 5, 2026. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian and ABC report that Bondi's prosecutions of James Comey and Letitia James were dismissed due to the prosecutor Lindsay Halligan lacking legal authority, but the specific details of this ruling are not repeated in all sources. Some sources, ABC, Guardian, state Bondi was accused of covering up Epstein files, while others, Guardian, Moira Donegan's column, argue the issue is more about Trump's own entanglement with Epstein. The Guardian and SMH mention Bondi's tenure included purges of career staff, but ABC and Guardian differ slightly on the scale, with Guardian stating 6,000 lawyers resigned. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, news.com.au, SBS News, Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 43 of 60. US airman rescued in Iran after downed F-15E fighter jet mission. US airman rescued in Iran after downed F-15E fighter jet mission. Here's what every outlet agrees on. An F-15E Strike Eagle fighter jet was shot down over Iran on April 5, 2026, marking the first US aircraft lost in Iranian territory during the ongoing war. 2 crew members ejected from the F-15E, the pilot was rescued within hours, while the weapons systems officer, a colonel, was missing for over 48 hours. The weapons systems officer was rescued on April 6, 2026, by US Special Operations Forces, including SEAL Team 6, in a nighttime mission deep inside Iran's mountainous terrain. The rescue involved about 100 Special Operations Forces, dozens of aircraft, helicopters, fighters, C-130s, and CIA intelligence support, including a deception campaign to mislead Iranian forces. The weapons officer hid in a 2,100-meter mountain crevice after ejecting, using intermittent beacon signals to avoid detection by Iranian forces. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian and ABC report that the F-15E was shot down on April 5, 2026, while Article 4, ABC, mentions the incident occurred on April 3, 2026. Iran claims it shot down US aircraft, including a C-130 and helicopters, during the rescue, but US sources attribute these losses to deliberate destruction by their own forces to prevent capture. The Guardian states that the death toll in Lebanon is 1,422, while Article 4, ABC, reports 1,368 deaths as of April 3, 2026. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 44 of 60. US-Israel-Iran ceasefire strained by Lebanon strikes, Strait of Hormuz tensions. US-Israel-Iran ceasefire strained by Lebanon strikes, Strait of Hormuz tensions. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Israel conducted its largest strikes against Hezbollah since the war began on April 9, 2026, hitting 100 targets in Lebanon, including command centers and missile infrastructure, with at least 182 to 254 deaths reported, SMH. 182, Guardian, 254. The ceasefire between the US and Iran, brokered via Pakistani mediators, began less than 24 hours before Israel's April 9 strikes on Lebanon, threatening its collapse. Iran threatened to close or restrict the Strait of Hormuz, a critical oil shipping route, if Israel continued strikes on Lebanon, SMH, claims closure, Guardian, alternative routes announced. US Vice President J.D. Vance will lead a negotiating team to Islamabad, Pakistan, for talks with Iran starting April 12, SMH, Saturday, Guardian, Friday, ABC, Saturday. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi accused the US and Israel of violating the ceasefire, stating the US must choose between the truce and continued war via Israel, SMH and Guardian. But not all outlets told the same story. The death toll from Israel's April 9 strikes on Lebanon differs. SMH reports 182 deaths, while Guardian and ABC report 254 deaths. The White House, SMH, ABC, claims there was an uptick in Strait of Hormuz traffic, but Windward, cited by Guardian, reported only 11 vessels transited on April 9, similar to prior days. Iran's public 10-point plan was dismissed by the White House as thrown in the garbage, Guardian, but Trump, ABC, claimed a workable basis for negotiations existed privately. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian and Sydney Morning Herald. Story 45 of 60. Donald Trump's threats against Iran spark global outrage and political fallout. Donald Trump's threats against Iran spark global outrage and political fallout. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Donald Trump posted on Truth Social on April 7, 2026, threatening to completely annihilate the entirety of Iranian civilization if Iran did not reopen the Strait of Hormuz by an 8 p.m. Eastern Time deadline. Trump's post included the line, "A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again," referencing Iran's population of over 90 million people. Democrats in Congress, including Senators Patty Murray and Chris Coons, and Representatives Joaquin Castro and Bonnie Watson-Coleman, condemned Trump's threats as a potential war crime or genocide. Bonnie Watson-Coleman called for invoking the 25th Amendment to remove Trump from office, citing his unstable behavior and escalation from threatening war crimes to genocide. Trump's ultimatum followed a White House press conference on April 6, 2026, where he stated, "The entire country could be taken out in one night, and that night might be tomorrow night." But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian states Trump's deadline was set for April 7, 2026, at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, while ABC does not explicitly confirm the exact time but references the Civilization Post as this week, implying the same event. The Guardian reports Trump claimed U.S. intelligence intercepted Iranian civilians urging continued bombing, while ABC does not mention this specific claim. ABC describes Trump's shift from threatening Iran to suggesting a joint venture over the Strait of Hormuz, but The Guardian does not mention this specific proposal. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 46 of 60. Sam Kerr's reported move from Chelsea to US NWSL club Denver Summit. Sam Kerr's reported move from Chelsea to US NWSL club Denver Summit. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Sam Kerr has been linked to a move from Chelsea to the NWSL club Denver Summit at the end of the 2025-26 season. Kerr posted on Snapchat, "Don't believe everything you read in the media, man. They know a decision before me." Kerr has played for Chelsea since 2019, winning 5 Women's Super League titles and 3 FA Cups. Kerr has scored 110 goals in 153 matches for Chelsea. Denver Summit is an NWSL expansion club based in Colorado, with owners including US Winter Olympics gold medalist Mikaela Shiffrin and NFL great Peyton Manning. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC states Kerr had a goal assist in Chelsea's 1-0 win over Arsenal in the second leg, but The Guardian does not mention this specific detail. The Guardian specifies Denver Summit's first match attendance as 63,004 fans, while ABC does not provide this number but references the report from Network 10. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 47 of 60. Kanye West banned from UK Wireless Festival over anti-Semitism controversy. Kanye West banned from UK Wireless Festival over anti-Semitism controversy. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Kanye West, legally known as Ye, was scheduled to headline all 3 nights of the Wireless Festival in London's Finsbury Park from July 10 to 12, 2026, in front of 150,000 attendees. West's Electronic Travel Authorization, ETA, was initially granted online but later revoked by the UK Home Office on April 7, 2026, on grounds his presence would not be conducive to the public good. Wireless festival organisers, Festival Republic, cancelled the entire event after the ban and announced refunds for ticket holders. West released a song titled Heil Hitler in 2025 and previously advertised a swastika t-shirt on his website, drawing widespread condemnation for anti-Semitic remarks. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer called West's booking deeply concerning and stated anti-Semitism must be confronted clearly and firmly. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian states Pepsi and Diageo withdrew sponsorship after West was announced as headliner, but Festival Republic's Melvin Benn claimed Pepsi had signed off on the booking. Article 2, Guardian, April 5, says wireless sponsors Pepsi, Rockstar Energy, and Diageo pulled out, while Article 7, Guardian, April 6, notes only Pepsi and Diageo withdrew, with Budweiser and PayPal also distancing themselves. Article 3, ABC, says West's ETA was initially granted online but rescinded by Home Office ministers, while Article 1, Guardian, adds the application was granted online but rescinded after review by ministers. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 48 of 60. Graham Arnold mobbed by Iraqi fans in Sydney after leading Iraq to World Cup qualification. Graham Arnold mobbed by Iraqi fans in Sydney after leading Iraq to World Cup qualification. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Graham Arnold was mobbed by Iraqi fans at Sydney Airport upon arriving to celebrate Iraq's World Cup qualification. Iraq qualified for its first Men's World Cup since 1986. Iraq's World Cup group includes France, Norway, and Senegal. The World Cup tournament kicks off on June 11th. Arnold took over as Iraq coach in May 2025. But not all outlets told the same story. The ABC states Arnold was unable to join Baghdad celebrations due to airspace shutdown, while SBS does not specify the reason for his absence. This story was covered by ABC News and SBS News. Story 49 of 60. Fiji cruise ship Fiji Princess runs aground near castaway filming island, risking oil spill. Fiji cruise ship Fiji Princess runs aground near castaway filming island, risking oil spill. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The cruise ship Fiji Princess ran aground on a reef near Maree Island, castaway filming location, on Saturday, April 6, 2026, or April 5 local time. All 30 passengers and 17 of the 31 crew were evacuated safely with no injuries reported. The vessel suffered serious damage to its rear left side, including steering equipment, and was taking in water after grounding. The ship was carrying approximately 20,000 litres of diesel fuel, and authorities took oil spill equipment as a precaution. Evacuated passengers and crew were taken to Port Denarau, Nodi, Viti Levu, for safety. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian states the grounding occurred on Saturday, April 6, 2026, while the ABC reports the incident happened on April 5, likely due to time zone differences. The ABC reports 30 crew on board, while The Guardian states 31 crew total, with 17 evacuated. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 50 of 60. Trump threatens Iran over Strait of Hormuz closure, escalating US-Israel war. Trump threatens Iran over Strait of Hormuz closure, escalating US-Israel war. Here's what every outlet agrees on. US President Donald Trump issued an expletive-laden threat on Truth Social on April 5, 2026, demanding Iran reopen the Strait of Hormuz by April 6, Tuesday, or face attacks on power plants and bridges, stating, "Open the Strait, you crazy bee S, or you'll be living in hell, just what?" Trump extended the deadline for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz from April 5, Monday, to April 6, Tuesday, in his latest post. The US successfully rescued a second US airman, a colonel, from Iran after his F-15 fighter jet was shot down on April 4, 2026, following a two-day search involving CIA-led disinformation and a daring rescue operation. Iran's parliament speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf responded to Trump's threats by warning that the US president's reckless moves would mean our whole region is going to burn, and accused Trump of following Netanyahu's commands. The US and Israel have launched strikes near Iran's Bushehr nuclear power plant, with the IAEA confirming a strike on April 4, 2026, that killed one physical protection staff member and damaged a building, prompting Iran's foreign minister to warn of radiological risks. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian and ABC report that Trump extended the deadline to April 6, Tuesday, at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, but Newscomm does not specify the exact time in its articles. The Guardian states that Trump claimed Iran delayed negotiations by requesting a 5-day delay, prompting him to attack the bridge, while Newscomm and ABC do not mention this specific reason for the bridge attack. Newscomm and ABC report that 2 US pilots were rescued, but The Guardian and Newscomm specify that one is a highly respected colonel and seriously wounded, while ABC does not provide this rank or injury detail. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 51 of 60. Teen surfer bitten by shark at Middleton Beach, South Australia, April 2026. Teen surfer bitten by shark at Middleton Beach, South Australia, April 2026. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Oliver Tokic Bensley, 16, was bitten on the foot by a shark while surfing at Middleton Beach, South Australia, on Good Friday, April 6, 2026, around 4:30 p.m. Oliver was 100 meters from shore when the shark bit him, and he paddled back to shore holding his surfboard. Oliver believed the shark was a bronze whaler based on the fin color. Oliver's wounds were cleaned, disinfected, x-rayed, and bandaged at Victor Harbour Hospital, with no stitches required. Oliver is taking antibiotics and avoiding putting weight on his foot, but expects to return to surfing in about 2 weeks. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian states Oliver was bitten at 4:30 p.m., while the ABC does not specify the exact time. The Guardian suggests the shark was likely a bronze whaler, while Sharkwatch SA founder Anton Covino, cited in ABC and Newscomm, says the species is unclear and the bite mark could resemble stepping on rocks. The Guardian mentions Oliver was in the water for about 10 minutes, while the ABC and Newscomau do not specify the duration. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 52 of 60. US VP JD Vance visits Hungary to support Viktor Orban ahead of pivotal election. US VP JD Vance visits Hungary to support Viktor Orban ahead of pivotal election. Here's what every outlet agrees on. JD Vance visited Budapest on April 8, 2026, to support Viktor Orban in Hungary's election, marking the first US vice presidential visit since 1991. Orban is facing Peter Magyar, a former Fidesz member, in a tight election where polls show Magyar's Tisza party leading by up to 20 percentage points. Vance accused the EU of election interference, claiming Brussels tried to destroy Hungary's economy and drive up costs for consumers. Vance called Donald Trump during a rally in Budapest, who endorsed Orban, saying, "I love Hungary and I love that Viktor. He's a fantastic man." Hungary's Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó described Vance's visit as a golden age for Hungarian-American relations. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian and ABC report Orban trails Magyar by up to 20 percentage points, but Vance publicly stated Orban would win the next election. The Guardian notes Vance's visit may have harmed Orban by undermining his claim that only his personal relationships secure Hungary's safety, while ABC emphasizes the ideological alignment between Orban and Trump's administration. The Guardian and ABC both cite Orban's reliance on Russian oil, but Vance praised Hungary's energy independence while ignoring its dependence on Russian imports. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 53 of 60. Woman charged after allegedly attacking hospital patient with hammer in Sydney. Woman charged after allegedly attacking hospital patient with hammer in Sydney. Here's what every outlet agrees on. A 46-year-old woman, Vicky Graham, allegedly attacked a 63-year-old man with a hammer at Royal Prince Alfred Hospital in Camperdown, Sydney, on April 9, 2026, around 12:15 a.m. The victim remains in a critical condition after suffering serious head injuries, including a broken skull and brain damage, requiring life support. Vicky Graham was arrested at the scene and charged with wounding a person with intent to cause grievous bodily harm, or grievous bodily harm in The Guardian. Graham was denied bail and is expected to appear in court on April 9, 2026, or refused bail in The Guardian. The attack occurred in Ward 9 of Royal Prince Alfred Hospital, and the victim was known to the assailant. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian and ABC Newscomau state Graham was charged with grievous bodily harm or wounding with intent, while the SMH specifies the charge as wounding a person with intent to cause grievous bodily harm in police documents. The SMH reports Graham was denied bail until June 2026, while The Guardian and ABC mention a bail hearing on April 9 without specifying a later denial. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, news.com.au, and Sydney Morning Herald. Story 54 of 60. Hungary gas pipeline sabotage claims ahead of election and US VP visit. Hungary gas pipeline sabotage claims ahead of election and US VP visit. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Hungary's ruling Prime Minister Viktor Orban placed a critical gas pipeline under military protection after Serbia reported finding explosives near the Turkstream pipeline on the 5th of April, 2026, just days before a pivotal election. But not all outlets told the same story. Serbia's Vučić stated the explosives had certain traces he could not disclose, while Hungarian officials implied Ukraine was responsible without direct evidence. Orban's government suggested Ukraine was involved, but Kiev's foreign ministry explicitly denied any role, calling it a Russian false flag operation. Serbian counterintelligence director Jovanic said the explosives had American markings, but no source confirmed whether this indicated US involvement or was a red herring. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 55 of 60. Impact of US-Iran conflict on global oil prices and Australian petrol costs. Impact of US-Iran conflict on global oil prices and Australian petrol costs. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The Strait of Hormuz carries up to 20% of the world's oil and gas tankers, and its blockade has disrupted global oil supplies. Australian petrol prices have risen over 30% since the Iran war began, reaching record highs above $2.50 per litre for regular unleaded. A US-Iran ceasefire was announced on April 7, 2026, causing Brent crude oil prices to drop 15% to below $91 per barrel. Australia sources most of its fuel from Asian oil refiners, Japan, China, Singapore, Southeast Asia, which rely heavily on Middle Eastern oil passing through the Strait of Hormuz. Even if the Strait of Hormuz reopens, it would take at least 3 weeks for oil prices to start falling at Australian petrol stations, with full market rebalancing taking months. But not all outlets told the same story. SMH reports Brent crude oil prices plunged 15% to below $91 per barrel, while ABC reports the price fell to about $95, 135 Australian dollars, from $110 per barrel. SMH states the ceasefire is a double-sided agreement lasting 2 weeks, while ABC does not explicitly mention the duration being double-sided but confirms a 2-week pause. SMH cites a $US 10 a barrel decline, cutting 10 cents per litre at Australian petrol stations, while ABC does not provide a specific conversion rate for oil price drops to local fuel costs. This story was covered by ABC News and Sydney Morning Herald. Story 56 of 60. Global diplomatic efforts to reopen the Strait of Hormuz amid Iran's closure. Global diplomatic efforts to reopen the Strait of Hormuz amid Iran's closure. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Australia's Foreign Affairs Minister Penny Wong joined an extraordinary meeting on April 2, 2026, convened by UK Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper to discuss reopening the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has virtually closed the Strait of Hormuz, through which about 20% of the world's crude oil passes, leading to spiraling fuel prices and economic strain. The UK Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper accused Iran of holding the global economy hostage during the meeting. Ministers agreed on the importance of continued coordination and collective action to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, emphasizing diplomatic and civilian initiatives. The meeting involved ministers from more than 40 countries, including Australia, the UK, Italy, the Netherlands, and the United Arab Emirates. But not all outlets told the same story. Newscomau states that 25 vessels passed through the Strait of Hormuz in the 24 hours leading up to the meeting, while ABC does not provide a specific number but emphasizes the drastic reduction from the usual 150 vessels per day. Newscomau mentions that Australia is not involved in offensive action overseas and that special forces are helping in defense of our Gulf partners, while ABC does not explicitly confirm or deny the deployment of special forces but focuses on diplomatic efforts. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 57 of 60. Oxford and Cambridge Boat Race 2026 wins and key moments. Oxford and Cambridge Boat Race 2026 wins and key moments. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Oxford women's team defeated Cambridge in the 80th edition of the women's boat race, first win since 2016, by 9.4 seconds. Australian rower Annie Anisakis, 27, from Melbourne, was part of the Oxford women's crew and won her 4th attempt at the race, serving as Oxford's former women's president. Heidi Long, a Great Britain Paris 2024 Olympic bronze medalist in the women's 8, was the Oxford Women's Club president and a key member of the winning crew. The women's race was held on the Thames in blustery, choppy conditions on April 5, 2026, with Oxford leading early and maintaining the advantage despite Cambridge's late challenges. Cambridge men's team won their 89th overall victory, Oxford's 81st, in the 171st men's race by 3.5 lengths and 11.02 seconds, with Australian Alexander McLean contributing to the win. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC states the men's race margin was 3.5 lengths and 11.02 seconds, while The Guardian says it was 4 lengths and 10 seconds. ABC describes the women's race margin as 9.4 seconds, while The Guardian does not specify the exact time but confirms Oxford won by a lead established early. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 58 of 60. Italian mayor's wife and daughter die from suspected ricin poisoning in Molise. Italian mayor's wife and daughter die from suspected ricin poisoning in Molise. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Antonella Di Gelsi, 50, and her 15-year-old daughter Sara Di Vita died after falling ill on December 23, 2025, following a pre-Christmas lunch in Pietracatella, Molise, Italy. Initial medical diagnosis was food poisoning from mushrooms or fish, but later toxicology tests confirmed ricin poisoning. Ricin was detected in blood samples 3 months after their deaths, via tests conducted in Italy and Switzerland. Gianni Di Vita, 55, the former mayor and husband, survived with similar but less severe symptoms after eating the same meal. Their other daughter, Alice Di Vita, 19, did not attend the meal and remained unharmed. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the two sources. All factual claims are identical. This story was covered by Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 59 of 60. Roller coaster malfunction at Movie World leaves passengers stranded mid-ride. Roller coaster malfunction at Movie World leaves passengers stranded mid-ride. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The DC Rivals hypercoaster at Warner Bros. Movie World experienced a stoppage due to a ride sensor activation on the 8th of April, 2026. Passengers were stranded approximately 10 meters above ground level on an uphill section of the track. All riders exited the ride safely from designated safe stop zones with the help of staff. A Village Roadshow theme park spokesperson confirmed the safety of all guests on board during the stoppage. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian specifies the incident occurred at 10:25:08.453803, while Newscomau does not provide an exact time. This story was covered by The Guardian and news.com.au. Story 60 of 60. Australia's fuel supply crisis amid Middle East war and Easter demand. Australia's fuel supply crisis amid Middle East war and Easter demand. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Energy Minister Chris Bowen confirmed Australia's fuel supply is secured into May, with 39 days of petrol, 29 days of diesel, and 29 to 30 days of jet fuel in reserve. As of April 2026, 3.4% of Australia's service stations, around 274 to 312, were out of diesel, with NSW hardest hit due to farming priorities during sowing season. Over 50 fuel ships were en route to Australia, replacing 6 cancelled orders due to Middle East war risks, with supplies diversified from Asia, the US, and Mexico. Diesel demand surged 30% in NSW during Easter, April 2026, due to farming needs, while petrol demand was normalizing. Shortages peaked at 182 to 184 stations in NSW before declining. OPEC Plus agreed to increase oil output quotas by 206,000 barrels a day for May 2026, though Strait of Hormuz closure limits actual production. Oil prices hit a 4-year high, $120 barrel. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1, Newscomau, states 3.4% of service stations were out of diesel nationwide, while Article 3, Guardian, reports 312 stations out of 8,000, 3.9%, and Article 4, ABC, cites 274 stations, lower than earlier peaks. Article 1 claims 182 NSW stations were out of diesel on Friday, while Article 2, Newscomau, says 184, and Article 3, Guardian, reports 150 the following Saturday. Article 1 mentions diesel reserves at 29 days, while Article 3, Guardian, states 30 days for jet fuel, consistent, but Article 2, Newscomau, does not specify jet fuel reserves. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au.